What if I told you that for nearly 100 years, Egypt was ruled by black African pharaohs, not Egyptian, not Arab, not Middle Eastern, black, African, powerful, the 25th dynasty? The Kushite Empire, the Black Pharaohs, and they erased them from your history books. Welcome back to Sky Chief Zim. If you think Egypt's story is just about Cleopatra and King Tut, you've been lied to. Today, the Kingdom of Kush, the African empire that conquered Egypt, built more pyramids than the Egyptians, and terrified the Roman Empire. This is the story they don't want you to know. Hit subscribe because this one rewrites everything. Picture this. 747 BC, Egypt, the most powerful civilization on Earth, falls. Not to Persians, not to Greeks, not to Romans, to their southern neighbors, the Nubians. The Kingdom of Kush, black African warriors swept through Egypt and crowned themselves pharaohs. For the next 100 years, they ruled all of Egypt. They build temples, they commission art, they're carved into monuments. Then they vanish from Western textbooks. Why? Because acknowledging that black Africans ruled Egypt destroys the narrative that Africans were primitive, so they buried it. The Kingdom of Kush existed from 1070 BC to 350 AD. That's over 1,400 years. Located in what's now Sudan, south of Egypt along the Nile, they weren't just neighbors of Egypt, they were Egypt's rivals, trading partners, and eventually, their conquerors. Kushites controlled the gold mines that funded Egypt's wealth. They were master archers, so skilled that Egyptians called them Taseti, the land of the bow. But here's what blows my mind. The Kushites built more pyramids than Egypt. Egypt has about 138 pyramids. Kush, over 250 pyramids in Sudan. Right now, still standing. When's the last time your history teacher mentioned that? 747 BC. Egypt is fractured, weak, and divided into small kingdoms. King Pi of Kush sees an opportunity. He marched north with his army. Within a year, he controlled all of Egypt. Not through brutality, through strategy and divine mandate. Pi claimed he was restoring Egypt to its former glory, bringing back the old gods and traditions that Egyptian rulers had abandoned. He becomes pharaoh, the first of the 25th dynasty, the Kushite dynasty. For nearly 100 years, black African kings ruled Egypt. Taharqa 690 to 664 BC, the most famous. These weren't puppet rulers. They built temples at Karnak. They restored Egyptian monuments. Egyptian art from this period shows them with clearly African features. They were Egypt. Taharqa is the most legendary. He's mentioned in the Bible to Kings 19-9. He fought the Assyrian Empire, the superpower of the ancient world, to a standstill. He built more monuments than almost any other black pharaoh. Temples, statues, pyramids. You can still see his name carved across Egypt and Sudan. The Assyrians feared him so much that they had to invade Egypt twice to finally push the Kushites out in 656 BC. Even then, Kush didn't fall. They retreated south, rebuilt, and thrived for another 1,000 years. But here's the crazy part. Despite all this, most people have never heard of Taharqa. Because when European archaeologists rediscovered Egypt in the 1800s, they had a problem. The evidence showed black Africans ruling Egypt. That didn't fit the Africans were primitive narrative they needed to justify slavery and colonialism. So they downplayed it, called them Nubian instead of African. Separated them from real Egyptian history. Basically, they erased them. Let's talk about the pyramids. Sudan has over 250 pyramids, smaller than Egypt's. Yes, there are more of them. They're steeper, pointier, and honestly, it's just as impressive. These are Kushite royal tombs. Pharaohs and queens were buried with gold, jewelry, and treasures. And here's the kicker. Most tourists have never heard of them. While millions flock to Giza every year, Sudan's pyramids sit in the desert, largely ignored. UNESCO finally recognized them as a World Heritage Site in 2011. But even now, they're barely mentioned in textbooks. Why? Because acknowledging them means acknowledging that African civilizations built monumental architecture, mastered engineering, and rivaled Egypt. And that challenges everything the West taught about Africa. The Kingdom of Kush lasted longer than the Roman Empire. They fought off Alexander the Great's successors. They held off the Romans. When Rome sent legions to conquer them, Kush fought so fiercely that Rome paid tribute to leave them alone. Let that sink in. Rome paid Africans to not fight them. Queen Amanirenas, a one-eyed warrior queen, led her forces against Augustus Caesar himself. She won. Rome backed down. But you've never heard of her? Because powerful black women don't fit the narrative. The Kushites proved that Africa wasn't waiting for Europe to discover it. Africa was building empires, conquering neighbors, and creating art while Europe was still in the Bronze Age. The Kingdom of Kush ruled Egypt for 100 years. They built more pyramids than the Egyptians. They fought Rome and won. They were black Africans. But they want you to forget, so remember this. Every time someone tells you Africa had no history, no empires, no achievements, show them Kush. Show them the Black Pharaohs. Show them the pyramids. Show them the truth. If this opened your eyes, smash that like button. Subscribe to Sky Chief Zim for more hidden truths every week. Drop a comment. Which lost African empire should we expose next? The Kushites conquered Egypt. Let's conquer ignorance. I'm Sky Chief Zim. Stay woke to the real history.